Hey now, well, I'm in the Duke of Cornwall here in Toronto doing a VC meetup, something I've been doing a lot of recently. And look who I've got here, but Brian, Embryonic Robot, here in the house. Brian, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. We're having a adult beverage. So I want to start off, as I do with all these interviews, is ask a few questions to get to know you a little bit better. And then I'm going to ask a 10 question set that I ask everybody, the same questions. You have not seen these questions before.
That's right.
And then I've got 5 embryonic robot specific customized questions that I'm going to ask you as well. So here we go. When did you start your channel?
I'm ready, by the way.
You're ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay. When did you start your channel?
January 22nd, 2022.
Ooh, you really have it.
Surprised I remember that? I remember it, yeah.
Why did you start your channel?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, wow. I will say I've been watching VC videos for probably 10 years, maybe even longer before I ever started the channel. And, God, why did I start? I don't feel like I'm the kind of guy that has a niche knowledge about something. I guess I was watching enough channels that I thought were very interesting, and I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I'm not sure I have an answer. Now that I'm talking about it, I don't know if I have an answer to that question, but I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to do. A little out of my comfort zone. I never made a YouTube video before. I wasn't really thinking of connections. I was just thinking of making videos, showing the records I had, that kind of thing. So I don't have a really good answer for that question, to be honest.
Fair enough. Where are you based?
Toronto, in my basement mostly. So yeah, Toronto. I've lived in Toronto for like since 1988, I think. 88.
Some of us have a moniker for our channel, and you do certainly. How did you come up with Embryonic Robot?
So, well, choosing a channel name is difficult, and I guess the two things I was thinking about first, I didn't want to have my name. I don't know why. I didn't want my first name, last name, or first name. I didn't want to have anything that had to do with records, believe it or not, like vinyl. So that left me in a weird situation of, I didn't want to put like Brian Plays Records, whatever. So I tried to pick something that was interesting, but maybe didn't even suggest the content of the channel. And maybe the two words didn't even go together. And I don't think they do go together. But, you know, there's part of me that thinks, well, maybe if I change my channel in future to, you know, maybe I was interested in like celebrity duck herding or something like that, I could change my channel without having to change the name. So if I took in a different direction, if I wanted to talk about photography or whatever, I wouldn't have to change the channel name. I just keep the channel name.
Right.
So not a very good answer. The name I chose doesn't have any historical meaning to me. It just is something that exists. I don't know.
It wasn't a name that the kids in the block called you or anything.
No,
like
in
that.
fact, it's funny because I've never really had a nickname in the past. So I've never even said my channel name on the air, believe it or not. So it just is a channel name that means nothing really, to be honest.
What's your experience having a VC channel been like? So think about things that you've liked about it or been surprised by.
Right. Well, let's start with something I don't like about it. And that's because that I'm spending way too much money on records. Things I like about it. Well, okay, the things I like and the thing I'm surprised about is probably the same answer, and that will be like today, this community thing that's growing. Like I think I said to you earlier today that I just assumed I would be sitting in my basement, making videos, watching videos, making some comments, buying records, and that would be pretty much it. So I was kind of surprised when these meetups started to happen. Like I met, the first person I met was probably Rob from Northern Revolutions, and it kind of spiraled from there. I've met quite a few people now. That is the most surprising thing. And I think it's probably the most positive thing. It means more than, you know, views are nice and comments are nice and subscribers are nice, but I would say meeting people has been the most interesting thing and probably the most rewarding thing of having a channel.
Right. What are some other major interests of yours outside of music?
I would say one that's been with me since I was a kid is photography. I probably have 45 cameras. I used to be really interested in photography. At one point I had over 20,000 photos on Flickr. I don't have a membership anymore. I don't have a paid membership. So I've been involved in like local Flickr groups, street photography groups, various meetups. That would be the major one. Other ones, I mean, in terms of fitness, I'm a swimmer. I swim 4 or 5 times a week. Um, that's probably the two big ones.
Great. Thank you. Back with Brian and Embryonic Robot, and here are the sort of 10 template questions I'm asking everybody that I get a chance to interview. So first one is, what record or records are you really enjoying these days? They can be a new record, an old record, but it's a front of the pile record.
Right, and I will say this with the knowledge that I've been out of my house for 2 months as our house is being renovated. So that has led me to play far fewer, actually no records. I haven't played a single record in the last 2 months. But one that I keep coming back to, and I've actually streamed it a few times, is one I've mentioned on my channel quite recently. It's the Fitz Born Sandy devotional that was recommended by Ben Rankins. And I talked about this quite recently, but it is one that the first time I heard it, I wasn't 100% sure that it was something I really liked, but now that I played it a few times, that is a record that will probably be a record I return to many times over the next few years for sure. So that one would be one that comes to mind.
I'll have to give that a listen. I know the band name, but I don't know their music.
Yeah.
Australian?
Yes.
A favorite concert experience?
I'm going to say I'll preface this by saying I come from a small town that didn't have shows. So I'm going to mention the first big stadium show that I went to, and that would have been. I'm talking about massive, big shows. Like before this, I had seen The Cure and Echo and the Bunnymen. They were big, but the first massive show I went to was Springsteen in 1985 on the Born in the USA tour in Toronto. My friend and I drove down. A guy I've known for like 50 years. We drove into the city, which was quite fun, and made our ways. We were as far back in the stadium as you could possibly be. I think there were 2 rows behind us, possibly.
Was that the CNE?
CNE. It was at that point he was like my favorite artist. I've been a fan of him for quite a few years, and someone I always wanted to see. And we bought scalped tickets. We did this long drive here to the city to watch it, and kind of got lost on the way out. It was kind of fun, but it was a great experience, even though we were so far back. But it was a really good experience.
Nice. Tell me about a favorite Bowie record.
Oh wow, that is. Okay, well, this might be an unconventional choice, but a record that I've always loved that I don't think is one that people put necessarily in the top 10 is Outside, the Nathan Adler Diaries, which just really connected with me. Something about the sound of that record and the production with his work with Brian Eno in that record. I just found like The Heart's Filthy Lesson. What a song! That song is just stayed with me. That's just an album I go back to. For a while, that was my most played Bowie record in my collection. I just think it's really fantastic. And I've heard other people say they weren't so pleased with that. I didn't love it as much, but I think that's a really fantastic record.
I like it. I think that's not on top of people's favorite Bowie, so I love that you found that record.
Yeah.
One of the saddest songs ever.
Oh. This one, I have to think about that. One of the saddest songs ever.
It's like an extension of the Sad Bastard vinyl tag.
Yeah, I can't remember what I used for that tag. Saddest song.
And you could think of it also as just a song that makes you feel sad or emotional.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I guess we'll stick with Bowie because when I listen to Black Star, like the song Black Star, I mean that. Knowing what happened afterwards, I mean, had he not died immediately after, I would have felt differently. But that was obviously a swan song, and listening to that song, knowing what came later, was pretty devastating. So that is a really sad song. I mean, if you look at the video closely, you can maybe get hints that he wasn't healthy. Yeah, I would say that.
Great. One of the most joyful songs ever.
Most joyful songs ever. Wow. These are challenging questions. I'm tempted to pick a really upbeat, fun song. I mean, maybe not lyrically, maybe. Like, for example, the record that I talk about all the time, or I seem to talk about all the time, is Haircut 100's Pelican West, which is, for me, the quintessential summer album. That album is filled with just fantastic shirts. And just an example, Lemon Fire Brigade, what a song. That was just like the perfect summer song. I just think that just brings, if that song doesn't bring you joy, there's something wrong with you. It's just a fun song.
A perfect first record of the day.
Wow. that depends on when you get out of bed, I suppose. Like, if you're getting up at 7, I'm not sure there is one. I guess I'm thinking of something that would get you going. Wow, these are challenging. Let me think about this for a moment. I might pick something from Bruce Cockburn, Canadian, sort of folky, and I think that's a good choice. Maybe something like maybe his most popular record, "Stealing Fire." That'd be a good way to start. Yeah, maybe that would be.
I think I've played Bruce Cockburn as the first record of the day a few times. Maybe just something off Dancing in the Dragon's Jaws, but yeah. One of the most underrated bands or artists ever.
Oh. Underrated bands or artists ever. Might have to edit my thinking out here. Most underrated bands or artists. Again, I'm going to pick someone I've talked about recently. There's a Canadian synth pop band called Rational Youth from Montreal, who I don't think got the credit they deserved. Their first record, Cold War Nightlife, I think is a synth pop classic. That record has the big hit Saturdays in Silesia, but really interesting synth sounds, very, I guess you could say new wave as well. I mean, the second record probably wasn't as good as that, but the first one, I just think, I'm surprised it doesn't really get talked about a lot. I think that's a record that should be, I think it's old now, but I think it should be talked about. I think it's really great.
Awesome, thank you. Van Morrison or Jackson Browne?
Van Morrison. I mean, I do like Jackson Browne. I don't have as many Jackson Browne records as Van Morrison, because I guess there aren't as many. I don't mind Jackson Browne. He's never been someone that I've loved deeply, but I do like the ones I have. But Van Morrison, to me, I mean, the string of his early records, the first 7, 8 records, I thought were all fantastic. Great voice. We can talk about his later days, especially during COVID, which is kind of interesting. But I think he did brilliant music. The first few records I thought were absolutely great. So no contest on that one.
I had to ask this because this is a template question set that I ask everybody, and I had to ask Ben Rankins this question. You can imagine it was an even quicker response.
I can imagine.
Joni Mitchell or Aretha Franklin?
Wow, that's a good choice. I think that the best singer of all time was probably Aretha Franklin, no question. I don't have anything by her, but I think her voice was unparalleled. But I'd probably listen to Joni Mitchell ahead of her. I don't have a lot of Joni Mitchell, but I really appreciate her music. Something about it really, I think is really great. So I pick Joni, even though I don't think she's as good a singer as Aretha Franklin.
And finally, question 10, 3 must-have desert island discs.
Okay, the debut record from Leonard Cohen, Songs of Leonard Cohen. That's a stone cold classic. Every song on there is a winner. Brilliant. Number 2, well, because we can't have 3 folk records. That would be kind of weird. I would say The Queen is Dead from the Smiths. Again, that record is just probably my favorite Smiths record. Very deep record. I love it. And that's kind of in places a really mellow album in a few cases. So I'd probably pick something, third record, I'd probably pick something that was a little more upbeat maybe, because you can't be listening to the same kind of musical day. Wow. You'd think this would be something that would leap to mind. I would probably pick, well, maybe I'm going to go back, maybe I'm going to, argue against what I just said and pick, Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan. I mean, that's folky too, but yeah, maybe that's what I think.
Awesome. Those are the 10 questions. Next up, 5 customized questions for Brian.
I need to hang on.
A beer, a cider drink. Okay, now we're at the 5 questions specifically customized for Embryonic Robot, aka Brian.
I'm a little nervous about this part.
Well, I'm not trying to break you. I'm trying to hopefully stimulate you. John Fox Ultravox or Midge Ure Ultravox?
John Fox.
That was an easy one. Were you a fan of Ultravox, of John Fox Ultravox? Because it's almost a different sound completely, right?
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't even know that Midge Ure was not the original vocalist in Ultravox. I became familiar with Ultravox through the Vienna, Reap the Wild Wind stuff, and so it was years before I knew there was a older iteration of Ultravox. But having gone back and listened to that, I think it is definitely different, and I think I probably like it better, to be honest. So yeah.
Gang of Four or Simple Minds?
Yeah, those are two bands I really like, but I would say that I have a longer relationship with Simple Minds because I discovered them many years earlier. Gang of Four didn't come to me till much later for some reason. I know that they were played here on certain radio stations. I've seen lists they were played on CFNY, but I don't have a strong memory of it. So I love Gang of Four. But Simple Minds, for me, those early records up until like Once Upon a Time, I thought were terrific. So that's not really a contest there.
Favorite driving song for you? Song you'd listen to while you're driving?
Right. Okay. Well, easy choice. I'm gonna pick Level 5 by King Crimson. In fact, there's an EP called Level 5, and that's brilliant. But Level 5, just love that song. It has a nice build to it. Great driving music. It's not something your passenger might want to hear, but it's a good one to drive to.
Nice. You're sitting on a beach in Mexico with a margarita in hand and earbuds in your ears. What are you listening to?
God.
Besides Haircut 100.
What am I not listening to? In Mexico, right?
Yes.
Wow. Honestly, I'd probably have my iPod on shuffle, but if I were choosing an album to listen to while sitting on the beach, I'm tempted to say Bob Marley, but that's just such an obvious choice. But maybe I'm listening to Bob Marley, like Exodus or something, or Natty Dread or something like that.
Good stuff. And finally, top 2 Leonard Cohen records. I know you already mentioned one, but what are your top 2?
Top 2. Well, I'd say the first one. Number 1 is his debut record. No question. I'm tempted to... Second one, as much as I like the first 3, I'm going to choose one that might be a little bit odd here, and that is... What am I going to choose that record? Boy, this is tough. I'm going to pick The Future as number 2. That's a record that probably would never make someone's top 5, but I've always loved that album. The song Democracy, Closing Time. I think it has some of his best lyrics. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in, which is a great lyric. So, yeah, I might choose The Future as number 2.
This isn't one of the customized questions, but how do you feel about his sort of swan song? It might get darker, or it's going to get darker.
Oh, well, there was You Want It Darker, which was his last official release, and then there was the posthumous one that came after. I think it's brilliant. I didn't love some of the stuff in the middle, like Popular Problems for me is probably my least favorite Leonard Cohen record, but I think it all came together with You Want It Darker. I mean, just the title track. I mean, it's a great album. Really good. Nice, interesting way to end his career, and then surprisingly had some more stuff left over for the follow-up there, the posthumous one. But yeah, I think it's a really good record. It reminds me of Black Star in many ways,
Bowie playing in the background.
Yeah.
Not Black Star. That'd be just too serendipitous.
That's right.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.